Welcome back to the morning show. Now, it would be impossible to talk about morning skincare routines and not mention vitamin C. And I think vitamin C is one of those ingredients that I receive probably the most questions on after retinoids. There is a lot of interest around vitamin C. And I think that's because traditionally the L-ascorbic acid form, which is the most studied, is found really in the main in the pricier end of the skincare spectrum because of some difficulties with formulating it in a way that was stable, that was protected from ultraviolet light because it oxidizes very easily. And that has led to interest in the vitamin C ester space, so things like magnesium ascorbyl phosphate, ascorbyl glucoside, and with the advent of brands like The Ordinary, making the esters more available and creating consumer interest accordingly. Now, I've given you the 8 reasons why I love vitamin C, so why are there fewer than the other ingredients that I've looked at in previous weeks? Well, in the end, I think that there are a couple of key benefits that we get with vitamin C, but in terms of the way it affects skin cells, there are probably fewer mechanisms of action than, say, something like azelaic acid. So just because there's 8 reasons doesn't mean they're any less important than the 10 reasons I mentioned for the other ingredients. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the best place to start with why vitamin C is potentially beneficial in our skincare is to think of its role as an antioxidant. Now, our skin has inbuilt antioxidant systems anyway, which are designed to neutralize free radicals that are generated by things like UVA, pollution, cigarette smoking, and so forth. However, they may not be as optimum in levels as we would like our skin to be because the body prioritizes other organs, not necessarily just the skin. So we can boost our own natural systems by applying vitamin C topically. And by donating electrons, antioxidants help calm down these excitable free radicals and stop them from damaging important structures like cell membranes. So it's protective against premature aging in the long run. Reason number 2 is not only is it protective against that aging UVA dermis activity, it's also helpful in reducing the risk of a sunburn when combined with your sunscreen. So you actually require more UVB rays to make the skin red in the presence of vitamin C. Now, whilst we shouldn't be running around waiting for the skin to go red, it means that it's actually an additional layer of protection to help protect you against those harmful rays. Reason number 3 is that it helps us maintain our collagen levels in the here and now. So it's not just about preventing harm in the future. It works by 2 mechanisms. Firstly, it increases the actual production, the synthesis of new collagen molecules, and secondly, it assists and encourages the assembly correctly of collagen fibers. So that means it improves the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles. Number 4 is its beneficial effect on pigmentation. So we know that vitamin C will indirectly reduce pigmentation because of its activity with regards to free radicals, which can drive the pigmentation pathway, but it also has a direct effect on that rate-limiting enzyme tyrosinase, which you'll hear me mention over and over again, which tends to mean that lower levels of melanin are produced, leading to more even, bright skin. The next reason it's helpful is its anti-inflammatory effect. Now, that means it can help down-regulate the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. So this is not only helpful in aging, we have this term inflammaging, where inflammation, chronic low-level inflammation is thought to drive the aging process, but it may also be helpful in conditions like rosacea and in acne, particularly in the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation phase of acne. We're trying to reduce the pigmentation as a consequence of those inflammatory lesions. Now, whilst I don't use vitamin C when acne is active, I do think it's really helpful in what I call the tidy up phase, once the acne is well controlled and you're targeting a skin tone improvement. The next reason I like it is because it tends to be an easy to apply serum format, which doesn't take loads of time to absorb or dry into the skin. And I think that's so important if we're going to build a regular, consistent routine Is it quick to apply? Yes. Does it layer well with other things? Yes. Does it wreck my makeup? No. If it fulfills those 3 criteria and it has benefits, we're much more likely to use it. Reason number 7 is it's generally well tolerated. For those who find the L-ascorbic acid format to be a little bit sensitizing because the pH tends to be quite low, it needs to be 3.5 or lower in order for it to get across the skin's barrier, then I would suggest seeking out a gentle ester which will probably be less irritating because they won't need to be formulated at that low pH. But on the whole, most people find vitamin C a fairly easy active to introduce. The final reason is it's versatile in its usefulness in both pregnancy and lactation. So both instances where you might feel the need for a bit of a boost, a bit of glow, a bit of help with hyperpigmentation can be a consequence of the hormonal state of pregnancy. So the good news is we can add this radiance enhancer in both these situations. So those are my 8 reasons for thinking about adding vitamin C into your morning skincare routine. And that brings the ingredients focus part of the morning show to an end. Now I hope I've given you lots to think about in terms of how you might go about customizing a skincare routine for the morning that best suits your needs in terms of your skin type, in terms of what problems you're trying to solve, and in terms of what commitment you're prepared to make to the morning in terms of time. So we'll bring it all together next week in a how to use video. But I'm really glad you guys are enjoying this series. It's been a real pleasure to make, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.